Welcome to the program. Tomorrow could mark the start of the biggest dispute on the nation's waterfront since the infamous 1998 showdown. The maritime union's expected to start strike action that could extend to Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Fremantle. Once again, the company at the centre of the dispute is Patrick Stevedores. The MUA's released a secret recording which appears to show a Patrick negotiator discussing a plan to lock out workers. The company denies it's planning that and says the industrial action has the potential to cause serious economic damage to Australia. Connor Duffy reports.
We'll be unable to service our clients from Wednesday tomorrow for 7 days. So we won't see any container ships, imports or exports leaving across the wharf. So effectively, we've nearly got 50% of Australia's capacity on their waterfront locked up for 7 days.
There are critical issues, safety. We've lost more wharfies in the last 3 to 4 years in this company and in other stevedoring companies in the country than we've lost since the war in terms of relative numbers.
The MUA is probably the best organised and one of the most sophisticated unions in the country. They are very skilled at knowing how to put work bans in place that hurt the employer but minimise damage to the public. They're not fools.
It's being touted as the biggest wharf war since the 1998 waterfront dispute, a 6-month battle that's remembered as one of the most bitter in the nation's history. Patrick Stevedores' attempt to replace its workforce saw violent clashes on the docks, guard dogs patrolling the wharves, and chaos for the national economy. From tomorrow, the Maritime Union of Australia plans to return to the picket lines in a move the company says will effectively shut down its operations in Brisbane and Sydney. Action is planned to start a day later in Fremantle, and a go-slow is already in place at the company's Melbourne docks.
We've got 35 ships that will be affected and some 35,000 containers. I think there's a lot of other impacts as well. We'll see small transport operators who rely on the wharf for their livelihood unable to make any money during that period.
Patrick's director, Paul Garrity, says the unions are holding the company and the nation to ransom by refusing to accept a 15% pay rise over 3 years that includes some productivity offsets.
So the union have entered this negotiation with an increase in mind which would cost us in the order of $45 million. After 8 months of negotiation, they've reduced that claim to $30 million, which still represents an increase per employee of around $30,000, which is something that we just can't entertain.
Spin. This is a light and deft touch, if that's what wharfies have. We got the option to take much more strenuous and robust industrial action, but we've foregone that. We want an agreement.
MUA stalwart Paddy Crumlin says the union has asked for an 18% pay deal over 3 years, but says the dispute is also about safety. These pay negotiations have been ongoing for 8 months, but today they took a dramatic turn. In one of the most unusual twists in a recent industrial dispute, the MUA released a recording left on a union official's phone by Patrick's negotiator and former MUA officer Mick O'Leary. Mr O'Leary's 2-year-old niece had accidentally dialled the union official's phone, and Message Bank recorded Mick O'Leary apparently discussing plans to lock out Patrick's workers.
Received 15th May at 1 p.m.
Naive, amateurish, bully boy tactics, those things don't really impress us. He should know that more than anyone. It's just really ridiculous.
Look, under the Fair Work Act, the position is that the company can legally use a lockout, the same as unions can use protected action.
Today, the director of Patrick, Paul Garrity, didn't rule out locking out the workers, but said the company had made no moves to do so and hoped to reach a resolution.
We'll be at Fair Work today. We'll be trying to get the union back in terms of a conciliation and arbitration process. I think this is just theatre on the side.
Will Mick O'Leary be disciplined?
No, I don't think Mick O'Leary will be disciplined or his niece. So I think this is just a little bit of theatre on the side.
Economist John Buchanan says the outcome of this dispute could set a trend for other industrial negotiations.
The employers are trying to show what they can get away with under the new Act. They're seeing if they can strike unions down on certain things. And equally, unions are showing their relevance. They're showing that by organising and taking effective action, they can deliver for their members.
Both sides want to leave the bitter legacy of the 1998 dispute behind them and are hopeful a last-minute negotiation may at least delay tomorrow's action. But publicly, the rhetoric remains feisty.
They're devaluing the work of these men and women that go out every day and lay their lives on the line, and it's a dangerous industry.
Well, I think they're certainly intent on making it difficult for Patrick, upsetting our business and also damaging Australia's international reputation.
Connor Duffy with that report.